Hello friends, I'm Robin Fiked at Stamping Country. Welcome to my stamping studio. I recently made this adorable little desk calendar. I'm going to clip it up each month. So I've made 12 of these. My January is hanging up, but I can't just have these hanging loosely around my office. So of course I'm going to make a custom box. So I'm going to show you how you can make a custom box of any size. These are a quarter of a sheet of cardstock, so they're 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to make my box to fit that. You'll also notice that that's the same size for a card. So to make this box, first I'm going to figure how to make the top. Now I've already said that it's 4 1/4 wide, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, so I'm going to make it 4 1/2. Now I have to have the sides. I have to figure out how big I want the sides. Looks like I want my top to be about 3/4 of an inch on each side. Now we have to go the height or the length, and that's going to be 5 1/2, but we have to add a little, so it'll be 5 3/4. And then we're going to do the 3/4 on the sides again. We'll add those up, and I get 6 and 7 1/4. So that is how you calculate. You can do this on any size box. Now let's figure out for the bottom. Now I want my bottom to be just a little bit taller because I like to see a little bit of my box peeking out. You don't have to. You can make them the same size. So I'm going to make these 1 inch on each of the sides. I'm going to have the same measurements in the center that I had on the top because the bottom is essentially the same size as the top. Well, almost. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So if I add those up, I get 6 1/2 and 7 3/4. Now, the bottom needs to be just a smidgen or a skosh smaller than the top so that the top tucks on nicely. And I'll show you how to do that when we do the cutting. We're going to use this new designer paper from Stampin' Up! Celebration. I actually received this for free, and you can too with a qualifying order. It's called Golden Honey. So I've cut this 6 inches by 7 1/4 inches. Now that 3/4 measurement, that is going to be my score line. So I'm going to score on all 4 sides. I'm going to score 3/4 of an inch. So I'll line that up, 3/4. And 3/4. You'll notice that the lines are intersecting, and so I'll have little corners on where I've scored, and I'll show you that's where we're going to make our tabs. So I've gone 3/4 of an inch. It's a little hard to see on this designer paper. It's got a little shine to it, but I'm going to show you on the bottom. Now remember that I told you that we were going to cut that 6 1/2. So I lined it up at 6 1/2, and I made it just a smidgen or a skosh smaller, or about a 1/16 of an inch smaller. Again, I lined that up at 7 3/4, and I'm going to back it up about a 1/16 of an inch, which is what I like to call a smidgen or a skosh. And then I'm going to actually score for the bottom 1 inch all the way around because I wanted a little bit of my bottom peeking out. You could have them the same size, but this is the way I've chosen to do it. So it depends on your design. Okay, the lines are a little bit easier to see on the bottom, so I'm going to show you with that how we're going to do our tabs. So you're going to cut up to the score line, and then you cut a little wedge out. That's going to keep your box neat and tidy. If you don't cut that, it's hard to get it perfectly even when you're making boxes, so I always suggest that you do this. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room. So you do that on all 4 corners, on both the top and the bottom. You're just going up to the score line. Easy peasy, right? And you'll notice how easy that would be to adjust your size for anything you wanted, for gift giving or even for your own use. Now you're going to want strong adhesive for this, and you're also going to want crisp fold lines. So I'm going to use my bone folder, which is my handy dandy use everyday tool in my craft room. It gives me nice crisp edges. Notice the designer paper has the cool stripes on the inside. How fun is that for the inside of the lid? That's the fun thing about using designer paper for boxes. Now on this adhesive, we want to put the adhesive on every tab. So you can use what adhesive you want. I'm using the tear and tape because it's strong. Just line that up on all 4 tabs on both the top and the bottom. If you would like more details about the calendar that I made, be sure to click the link in the description to go to my blog and see the rest of the details on the calendar. Okay, then I'm going to use my Take-A-Pick tool to peel off the protective coating on the tear and tape. So you'll need to do that on all the corners, and then we're going to show you how to put it together. Okay, so what you want to do, remember you have a little wiggle room because of the wedge, so you can line that up so that it's perfectly even and your corners are neat and square. This is a really simple box technique. You really can't go wrong. They're inexpensive and cute to make. So you see all my little calendars will fit in there. So I can give this as a gift, or I can store it, and I have one for each month. How easy is that? Now let's do the top. We're going to do it the same way. I'm lining up the tab with the end edges, and everything's neat and square. And because my top is just slightly bigger than my bottom, it fits ever so nicely. And I told you that this will also fit normal size or regular A2 cards because the measurements are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And of course we can't leave the box like that, so we're going to go ahead and decorate that. I'm going to use the new Honeybee stamp set from the new Mini. I'll use my embossing buddy to scrub off any moisture, and then we're going to use Versamark ink because I'm going to heat emboss the little beehive with some gold embossing powder. And then for the magical heat embossing technique, you just heat that up until all the powder is melted. Super simple, but beautiful. We'll stamp a sentiment. And the die that I'm putting around the sentiment actually comes from the ornate frames. It's a carryover from the holiday catalog. And then the hearts are also from the one that goes with the beehive. Not the beehive. Yeah, the beehive. Okay, so we run that through your die cutting machine. And then this little band is about 1 1/2 inches wide. I didn't worry about the length. I'm just going to trim that off. Just wanted a little bit of contrast, so this is just black. We're just going to jazz this up just a little bit. Of course, we're going to need a doily. And now we'll adhere. I'm going to pop up pretty much everything. My beehive with Stampin' Dimensionals. And we'll add these little bitty hearts. So quick and easy. And then the celebrate every moment. Beautiful. I'm going to show you how to do a really quick and easy bow. It may be a little fast on this video. I will leave a link in the description for a slower video. But you're going to weave in and out 3 times on the top, 3 times on the bottom. Go over in the ditch, pull it back across, and come up from the bottom to make our bow. So this will make a triple bow. Yeah, that was a little fast. So like I said, if you want to see it in slower motion, I do have a bow tying video tutorial on my Stampin' Country YouTube channel. Beautiful. Now, of course, once you learn this box technique, you can make any size box that you want. Notice how the black is peeking out because I made that just a little bit taller. So this, I made this little box with some designer paper for my little heart doilies also from the new mini. Because I can't just have them lying around without a box. So, and then you learn the technique. You can also make taller boxes. Thanks so much for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Have a fabulous day.